Once upon a time, there lived a woman called Anashi. She was a very kind-hearted woman, and almost everyone in the village liked her. She lived with her husband, Odali, in the village of Osimili. They had been married for almost 20 years without any child. Anashi was 13 years old when she got married and went to live with her husband. She was now 33 years of age. When will you have a beautiful child that looks like you for me, Anashi? Her beloved husband would say each night they lay on the bed after the day's work. Only the Creator will say, my beloved husband, she would reply. Odali refused to marry another wife because he had hopes that one day Anashi would give birth to a child for him. When Anashi turned 40, he dawned on her that it was getting late in her life to bear children. And if she got older than that, she may not have any child at all again. She'll be crying and praying. She'll be crying and praying every day, every day. Odali's mother went to another town to bring a new wife for her son, Odali. But when she brought Odali's new wife to the house, Odali drove the two of them away, drove his mother and the new wife away. If that is the way my Creator wants it, that my wife will not have a child for me, so be it. I will not marry another woman, he vowed. The next day, Anashi, on hearing the matter, ran into the forest in tears. She sat under the tallest pear tree that was locally known as Ube tree and cried a lot, all her feelings captured by the frustration within. She was just crying when she fell asleep right under the pear tree, and in her dream she saw an old woman come down from the pear tree effortlessly and walked up to her where she was lying. Anashi, 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 she called 3 times. Yes, old one, she answered. Wipe away your tears, my child. You shall weep no more. You are going to bear a child, and you shall name her Ube, the name of the tree, meaning pear. And don't you ever allow the child to go under or climb this very tree you are lying under. If the child goes under or climbs it, she will die. So don't ever allow her to come close to this tree. Yes, great one, I understand, Anna, she replied, and woke up immediately, panting. There was no one at sight. She turned left and right, up the tree, about her, but there was no one she could see around her. She jumped to her feet and ran all the way back home. When she got home, she told her husband what she had experienced under the tree as she fell asleep, and he scolded her for going into the forest to sleep. Anything dangerous could have happened to you, my love. So, my love, don't you ever do it again. Do you understand? He admonished, cuddling her to himself. The following month, Anash became pregnant. She did not see her monthly period, but she could not understand it all. It might be a false alarm. After all, for 20 years now, I've lived with my husband without becoming pregnant, so she ignored it. She did not tell her husband because she felt it might come out later. At the end of the second month, she did not see her period. The third month, she did not see her period. She started wondering, could it be the old woman's words? have come to materialize, she thought within her. But at the end of the third month, she called her husband and told him about it, but did not believe. He told Anashi, his wife, to stop taunting him with it, that they've been together for years and whatever will be, will be. In Africa, it's mandatory for a man to have a child. If he did not have a child, it's a problem. But at 4 to 5 months, Odali started to believe because Anashi, his wife's body shape started changing. Everyone was noticing it that Anashi was pregnant, and they were happy to see the kind-hearted lady become pregnant to have a child for Odali. At the end of 9 months, Anashi gave birth to a bouncing baby girl. The whole place was almost overturned with joy, and gifts were pouring in from kind-hearted people in the village. They were surprised that after 21 years, 21 good years of marriage, Anashi was able to give birth to a child. Anashi and her husband on their part were now at a crossroad on the name to give the baby. What name are we going to give our baby child? Anashi, her husband asked, smiling with happiness and contentment. I think we should call her Ube, she replied, looking at her husband to see his facial expression. What? Why Ube? He asked. Yes, my husband. Remember the dream under the pear tree I told you about? Yes, her husband nodded and replied, I believe that's the source of our blessings of having this child, and we must try as much as we can to keep the promise the old man told me to keep, she added. You are right, my wife, Odali said. The Creator will not come down by himself to help us, but he will use the form of anyone to offer his children a helping hand. So it shall be. Ube that we will name our daughter, and so be it. The naming ceremony was done, and the baby was named Ube. She grew up to be a very beautiful baby. Everyone liked to carry her. She had well-curved shapes and well-mannered character to behold, and she grew up to be like her mother in color. She was light-skinned. She became the most beautiful girl in the community, more beautiful than her mother. She was just like an electric light shining wherever she went. When she turned 16, she was presented along with other contestants to be a prospective wife of the young king of the village. King Esume XIII of Oshimili Kingdom was the new king, and he was unmarried. There were 20 girls in number that were presented to the young king, and out of the 20, the king looked about in character, shape, manner, everything, and chose Ube as his wife to be. He had tested all of the 20 girls, and the villagers were happy that the king had made the right choice by choosing the beautiful Ube. She would look good as their queen, and she had good character that people of the village would enjoy from. The preparations started. The date was fixed for the marriage to take place the following month, and the whole village and the palace started making preparations for it. Meanwhile, in Ube's home, her parents had taken the pains to explain to her why she must avoid climbing or going under the tallest pear tree, the Ube tree, in the forest, which was the one the old woman had warned Anashi in her dream. Ube was not allowed to go to the forest at all after the whole incident. About 3 weeks to the day of the marriage, Ube was given the royal headgear, which she was to put on her head while being escorted to the palace on the marriage day. It was a law that it had to be done that way. The bride of the king would be dressed with the royal headgear, and it must never be stolen or lost. If stolen and found, only the bride would pick it up from wherever it was placed and hand it back to the king. On the day Ube was chosen for marriage, her three friends, Uchi, Olu, and Oni, were also among the girls presented to the king, but they lost the contest. One day, it so happened that Ube and her friends were chatting in her house, in her room, when Ube's mother called her into another room in the house. She sat Ube down and reminded her again of the pear tree and advised her that on no account must she disobey the rule and go to the pear tree no matter what, whether she was near her or not, because she knew that after marriage she will not be close to her daughter anymore. Her daughter will be living with her husband. So she had to give her this advice once more. While mother and daughter were busy talking, Ube's best friend out of the three girls, Uchi, walked to stand by the half-open door, eavesdropping. Having lost in the marriage contest among the contestants, it was a big slap to her, and she was scheming and thinking of what she would do so that she would gain favor for Ube to lose everything. Before Ube could come out of the room, Uche had tiptoed back to sit with the others, who were also not happy for having lost the contest, and were all scheming on what to do to make sure that Ube does not marry the king, that they will have to marry the king themselves. The three girls, within few minutes, put their wicked and jealous minds together and made up a plan to steal the royal headgear that had been given to the bride and place it on top of the pear tree so that Ube will climb the tree by force to collect it. Uche had told them everything she heard mother and daughter discussing. So that night, they stole the headgear, and the following morning, as early as they could, they went to hang it at the top of the pear tree, the Ube tree. Few days to the marriage, the headgear was discovered missing. The whole villagers were called to the palace and asked to search for the headgear through the length and breadth of the kingdom, for it was a forbidden thing for such a thing to happen, and it had never happened in the history of Usmili kingdom before, and such act will not be tolerated. And moreover, without the headgear, the king will not be able to get married. The headgear to the throne had been handed down from generation to generation of the kingdom. So the headgear was found a day to the marriage day, hanging at the top of the pear tree, to the surprise of everyone. The villagers came there, saw it, and shook their head and left. These three girls, three friends, now ran all they could to Ube's house. Meanwhile, Anashi, Ube's mother, had gone to the farm and her father had gone fishing, so she was all alone at home with her heavy heart at the loss of the headgear. She was just there doing housework when she suddenly heard some noises of people coming closer to her house. Ube, Ube! She heard her friend's voice calling to close to her house. They were her friends, and their voice made her come out. Ube, come out! We have found the headgear, they said to her. What? She shouted happily, jumping. Where is it? And where did you find it? Come quickly, they urged her. and she ran after them towards where they had found the headgear. On getting there, on getting there, hmm, she was surprised. She switched in, realizing that they were actually close to the pear tree her mother had warned her about. Where's the headgear? She asked, looking about her. They pointed to the top of the tree. Obi looked up, and behold, there it was, truly hanging at the top of the pear tree. Hmm. Climb up and take it, Obi, they urged. Everywhere was silent. There was nobody except these three girls and Obi. No one was around. The villagers had all gone back, trying to find out, to consult the gods, to know what was happening. But these three girls had led Obi to the tree. Just climb now and take it down, they said. Obi looked at them, the three friends she once had thought were her great friends, and she knew now they had all planned it. She remembered they had been in the house the day her mother was talking to her about it, that she must not come close to the pear tree. One of them or all of them must have overheard them talking. She shook her head and said, Sorry, my friends, I'm not climbing that tree. What? The three girls chorused. No one except you can climb to get it down because it is the law of the land. But you don't expect me to do that, she told them. My mother said I must not go near this pear tree. Why did your mother tell you not to go near the pear tree? They asked, all eyes on her. Um, um, stammered Obi. My mother, my mother. Your mother did what? They asked her. Nothing, Obi replied. Okay, nothing. Climb then and bring down your marriage headgear from the tree because it's only you that has the authority to touch it. Ube looked around and remembered her parents' warnings. She looked at her three friends, Uche, Olo, and Oni, and tears streamed down her face. She did not know why her parents had told her not to go near the pear tree or even climb it. But she knew that these girls wanted her to do what was wrong, so she refused climbing the tree. Uche looked at Ube with hatred and said, All right, if you are not ready to climb up and bring your headgear down, we will all go to the palace to tell the king and the villagers about your mystery. But my parents want me not to do that, she said. And which of you put that headgear there in the first place? She asked suspiciously, looking at her three friends. All right, put in Olo. Let's go and report to the king, she said to the girls, and they started marching towards the village. Wait, shouted Ubi. Come back. I will climb the tree, she agreed. She said to their request to avoid other issues that may arise. The girls were happy and stood watching beautiful Ubi climb the ladder they had put in front of the pear tree. She had been warned never to climb. As soon as she was at the top of the tall pear tree, the girls removed the ladder. Ube collected the headgear and tried to come down the tree, but alas, the ladder had been taken away. Please put back the ladder so that I can come down the tree, she pleaded, but no way would the girls listen. They brought out matches and set the tree on fire with Ube at the top. The pear tree started burning. Ube was shouting, but no one could hear her because they were far away in the forest and no one could hear them. That was how the tree and Ube got burnt and the girls ran back to the village. Anashi, Ube's mother, was returning home very late in the evening from the farm when she saw the ashes on the ground. They were so beautiful. She said, Oh, look at those beautiful ashes on the ground. So beautiful. Let me scoop some and take home to give my ube to wash the back of our pots with. She bent down and packed the ashes. As she was packing them, as soon as she touched the ashes said, "Don't touch me, mother. Uche, Olu, and Oni asked me to climb the pear tree and they set me, your daughter, Ube, on fire. This is the ashes of your beautiful daughter, Ube." "No, I don't believe you," Anna she replied. "If truly you are Ube, my daughter, jump on my legs," she commanded. Part of the ashes jumped on Anashi's leg. "No, you are not my daughter. If you are my daughter, jump on my lap." The ashes jumped on Anashi's laps. She continued until she commanded the ashes to jump on her palm. If she was actually Ube and it actually landed on her palm, she let out a loud wail and with the ashes in her palm, rushed home and truly Ube was not at home. She met her husband and told him everything that had happened, crying. The couple decided to go to the king. On getting to the king's palace, they told him everything that had happened to his young bride. The king was furious. He sent for the three girls and asked them if they had actually committed the grievous crime, but they denied it all. In anger, the king commanded everyone to be present at the place the tree was burnt. So he asked the girls to step on the ashes. Immediately they stepped on the ashes. Ube said they heard her voice. "Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Uche, Olu, and Oni, you asked me to climb the pear tree and you set me on fire because you were envious of me that I was chosen by the king. You killed me. Uche, you killed me. Olu, you killed me. Oni, you killed me out of jealousy." The king was annoyed. He commanded the villagers to go and bring ashes from the village and perform a little ceremony with it. Then he asked the villagers to set the three girls on fire. They were burnt to death. The villagers, everyone, there was no mercy, set fire on the girls and they got burnt to ashes. See what envy can do? That is why family secrets should always be kept sacred within the family members because you never can tell who is eavesdropping and what they can do with the information they get at hand. That is the end of the story. Please subscribe, like, and share the videos. Thank you very much.